am a dedicated and good woman. I was always loyal to my husband and never disrespected him in my life. But what he did to me was unforgivable. This is my history, and I hope you understand." As I pulled into the driveway, a rush of excitement coursed through me. Today was supposed to be special. An evening I had planned to surprise Mark with a romantic dinner, complete with his favorite dishes and a bottle of our best wine. I envisioned his smile, the way his eyes would light up when he realized the effort I'd put into making the night memorable. But as I stepped inside, I was greeted by an unexpected sound. Mark's voice, low and intimate, drifting through the hallway. I paused, my heart momentarily sinking. "Oh, come on, babe. You know how much I love you," he whispered. My instinct was to brush it off as a work call, but a creeping unease settled in my stomach. I moved closer, curiosity piqued. I could hear the soft laughter on the other end, and it felt like a dagger to my heart. "Who are you talking to?" I asked, trying to sound casual but failing miserably. Mark jumped, quickly ending the call and turning to face me, a guilty flush creeping across his cheeks. "Just a colleague," he replied, his voice too smooth, too rehearsed. "What are you doing home so early?" I forced a smile, my stomach churning. "I wanted to surprise you. I made your favorite dinner." "Ah, that's great, babe. You didn't have to," he said, avoiding my gaze. As the evening wore on, I tried to shake off the feeling of doubt, but it lingered like a shadow. The next morning, while Mark showered, I picked up his phone, intending to send a quick text to my sister. Instead, my heart stopped when I saw a message from Lisa, a name I hadn't heard in ages. "Can't wait to see you tonight. You make me feel alive." The words shattered my trust into a million pieces. I felt as if the ground had given way beneath me. I was heartbroken and furious, my mind racing with questions. How could he do this to me? When Mark emerged from the bathroom, I confronted him, my voice trembling with emotion. "Who is Lisa? What's going on?" His eyes widened, and he stammered, "Sarah, it's not what you think. She's just a friend." But the lies were suffocating. Desperation clawed at my insides as I felt the urge to dig deeper, to uncover the truth behind his betrayal. I couldn't let this end without understanding the full extent of his deceit. I had to know. I had to find out who else was involved in this web of lies, and I was ready to confront whatever dark secrets lay ahead. As I sat across from Jenna at our favorite coffee shop, my heart raced with a mix of anger and despair. The barista, oblivious to my turmoil, placed a steaming cup of coffee in front of me, the aroma barely registering as I stared blankly at my phone. I could still see Lisa's flirty messages in my mind, and the thought of my husband Mark with her gnawed at my insides. "Sarah, you can't just sit here and do nothing," Jenna urged, her voice firm but gentle. "You need proof. You need to confront this head on." I sighed, a heavy weight pressing on my chest. "But how? I can't just follow him around like some desperate detective." Jenna's eyes sparkled with determination. "What if we hire a private investigator? They can get the evidence we need without you getting your hands dirty." I considered it, biting my lip. "You really think that's a good idea?" "Absolutely. The truth will set you free, and maybe it'll help you figure out what you want to do next. You deserve to know, Sarah." Taking a deep breath, I nodded. "Okay, let's do it." Later that week, we met with the investigator, a man named Tom. He was gruff and no-nonsense, but I sensed a hint of compassion hidden beneath his tough exterior. "Tell me everything," he said, leaning back in his chair, his notepad ready. As I recounted the painful details, I felt a strange sense of relief wash over me. "I just want to know how deep this goes. I need to know if there are other women." Tom's expression turned serious. I'll get to work right away. And don't worry, you'll have what you need soon enough. The next few days felt like an eternity. I jumped at every sound, anticipating the investigator's call. When it finally came, I felt my stomach drop. "Sarah, I have some information," Tom said, his voice steady but grave. "Mark and Lisa have been seeing each other for months. I have photos too." My heart raced, a storm of emotions swirling inside me. "How could he do this to me? To us?" I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. "Do you want to see the photos?" Tom asked gently. I hesitated, my heart pounding as dread settled in. "Yes, I need to see them." As the images flickered onto my screen, my heart shattered. There was Mark, laughing with Lisa at a cafe, their hands brushing against each other. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. "I can't believe this," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "He's been lying to my face." Jenna placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. "What are you going to do now?" An icy determination filled me. "I'm going to make him pay. Both of them." As I spoke, a plan began to form in my mind, dark and twisted, but it felt like the only way to reclaim my power. I would pretend to be oblivious, luring them into a trap where the truth would finally be revealed. The thought sent a thrill of anticipation through me, and I knew I was ready to set my plan in motion. As the dinner party progressed, I could feel the tension in the air thickening with each passing moment. I greeted my guests with a smile that felt more like a mask, concealing the storm brewing inside me. Mark sauntered in, his laughter echoing against the walls, and there was Lisa, her youthful exuberance shining like a beacon. It was infuriating how blissfully unaware she seemed, completely oblivious to the chaos she had caused in my life. "Sarah, this looks amazing," Lisa gushed, pouring herself another glass of wine. The sound of her voice grated against my ears, and I forced out a polite smile. "Thank you, Lisa. I wanted everyone to feel special tonight," I replied, my voice steady, but my heart raced. I glanced at Mark, who was engrossed in a conversation with one of our friends. I could see the flicker of guilt in his eyes whenever they met mine. As the evening unfolded, I began to drop subtle hints, my comments laced with double meanings. "Isn't it funny how we think we know someone? Like, we believe they'd never betray us?" I said lightly, looking directly at Mark. He shifted uncomfortably, and I could see the color drain from his face. "Yeah, it's wild," Mark replied, his voice strained as he nervously fiddled with his wineglass. Lisa, blissfully ignorant, leaned closer to Mark, giggling at something he said. It made my blood boil. How could she not sense the tension? "You two seem really close," I remarked, forcing a smile. "Like old friends." "Just having a good time," Lisa chirped, completely missing the weight of my words. "Good times can sometimes lead to unexpected places," I continued, my heart pounding as I watched Mark's face contort with fear. The realization was dawning on him that I knew. He opened his mouth to speak, but the words caught in his throat. The moment I had been waiting for was finally at hand. I cleared my throat, commanding the room's attention. "I think it's time for some honesty," I said, my voice steady but my heart racing. "Mark, we need to talk about your little secret." Gasps filled the room, and I could feel the tension crackle like electricity. "Sarah, what are you talking about?" Mark stammered, panic etched across his features. "Why don't we let everyone in on the truth?" I challenged, watching as Lisa's confident smile faltered, her eyes darting between Mark and me in confusion. The air was thick with anticipation, the stares of our friends burning into my skin. It was time to uncover the web of deceit that had ensnared my life. The air was thick with tension as I stood in the living room, staring at the door Mark had just walked out of. My heart raced, torn between the relief of his absence and the ache of betrayal that settled deep in my chest. I wanted to scream, to cry, but instead I felt a chilling calm wash over me. I could hear the echo of his desperate pleas for forgiveness still ringing in my ears. "Sarah, please, I'll change, I swear." "Change?" I whispered to myself, my voice barely audible. "You think it's that easy?" I took a deep breath, the weight of my anger slowly morphing into something sharper, something darker. Revenge. It bubbled up inside me, igniting a fire I hadn't known was there. I grabbed my phone and called Jenna, my confidant and partner in crime. "I need your help," I said when she picked up, my voice steadier than I felt. "It's time to take this to the next level." "What do you have in mind?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "I'm going after Lisa. I want to gather everything I can against her," I replied, a sense of purpose sharpening my thoughts. If I can expose her for who she truly is, it'll hurt Mark even more. Jenna's silence spoke volumes. "You're serious about this, aren't you?" "Absolutely. I need to make her pay." As the days passed, I immersed myself in research. I discovered Lisa worked at a boutique downtown, and I made a plan to visit. I would pose as a disgruntled client. It didn't take long for me to find a reason to stop by. I wanted to see her in her natural habitat, to witness the facade she wore when dealing with the public. "Can I help you?" Lisa asked, her voice dripping with that same false sweetness that had lured Mark in. I felt a surge of disgust as I played my part, feigning interest in a dress while studying her every move. "I'm just looking for something special," I replied, forcing a smile. "But I heard some interesting things about you. I hope they aren't true." Her expression shifted slightly, a flicker of nervousness crossing her face. "What do you mean?" "Oh, you know," I said, leaning in closer, my voice low and conspiratorial. "Rumors about your dealings. It must be hard to keep everything under wraps, right?" She chuckled nervously, but I could see the fear in her eyes. "I don't know what you're talking about." I smiled sweetly, the thrill of the game coursing through my veins. "Just be careful, Lisa. You never know who might be watching." As I walked out, I felt a rush of triumph. I had planted the seed of doubt, and I wasn't done yet. The thrill of my revenge plan took root, and I couldn't help but imagine the downfall I was orchestrating for both Mark and Lisa. The pieces were falling into place, and I was ready to take control of this twisted narrative. This was just the beginning. As I sat in my living room, the weight of my plan pressed heavily on my chest. Jenna was beside me, her fingers dancing over her laptop as we crafted the details of my new identity. "Okay, so we need a name, a background, something believable," she said, her eyes gleaming with excitement and mischief. "Let's go with Claire Reynolds." "It sounds innocent enough," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady, even as my heart raced. "I want her to think I'm just a concerned citizen." Jenna nodded, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "And what about the tips? We need to make them sound credible, something that'll get the authorities interested." I leaned back on the couch, visualizing Lisa's smug face. "Let's say I overheard her bragging about some shady deals at her job, maybe something about embezzling funds. That'll definitely catch their attention." "Perfect," Jenna said, already typing up the first tip. "I'll make sure to send it from a secure email address, and we can use a VPN to hide our tracks." With every keystroke, I felt a mix of thrill and anxiety. The idea that I could bring Lisa down made me feel powerful, yet it was still overshadowed by the gaping hole in my heart. "Do you really think this will work?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "It has to," Jenna replied, looking me straight in the eye. "You deserve to see her pay for what she did to you." As the days passed, I watched with bated breath as our plan unfolded. I received updates from Jenna, who checked in regularly. "It's happening, Sarah. They've launched an investigation into Lisa's company," she said one evening, her voice bubbling with excitement. A wave of vindication washed over me, but it was quickly followed by a cold emptiness. I couldn't shake the feeling that, even though Lisa's world was crumbling, my own heart remained shattered. One evening, I found myself staring out the window, watching the sunset bleed into the horizon. What have I done? I muttered to myself, the thrill of revenge turning bitter. Hey, Jenna said, breaking the silence. You okay? I forced a smile, but it didn't reach my eyes. Yeah, just thinking. You're doing the right thing, she reassured me. She needs to face consequences. I glanced at Jenna, grateful for her support, but aware of the truth that loomed in the shadows. Revenge might feel empowering, but it hadn't filled the emptiness inside me. I turned away from the window, my mind racing with thoughts of what I had lost and what I still stood to gain. I hope this works, I whispered, my heart heavy with uncertainty. The phone rang, shattering the silence of my living room. I picked up the receiver, my heart racing, still riding the high of watching Lisa's world crumble. Sarah, the investigator's voice came through, laced with urgency. We need to talk. It's about Mark and Lisa. What now? I asked, feigning indifference, though my palms began to sweat. It's not just Lisa. There are other women involved, and one of them, she's connected to your past. My stomach dropped. Her name is Emily. Emily? I repeated, the name echoing in my mind like a cruel joke. Emily, my childhood friend, my confidant. She had betrayed me once before, but I never thought she would resurface in my life like this. What are you saying? I have proof. Mark and Emily have been conspiring against you. I can send you the details, but you need to prepare yourself. This goes deeper than you think. As the investigator spoke, I felt a whirlwind of emotions. Anger? Yes. Betrayal? Absolutely. But more than that, I felt a chilling sense of déjà vu. A rush of memories flooded my mind. Emily's laughter, our shared secrets, the way she had turned on me over something trivial. Why would she do this? I asked, my voice trembling. Jealousy, perhaps? It seems she has her own reasons to want you out of the picture. I slammed my hand against the kitchen counter, the sound echoing in the empty house. I can't believe this. I thought I was done with her. She's been in my past for years. I'm sorry, Sarah, but you need to be careful. This is more than just an affair. You're caught in a web, and it's getting tighter. I hung up, the weight of his words pressing down on me. The room felt suffocating, and I staggered back, gripping the edge of the counter. Betrayal was one thing, but betrayal from someone I once trusted so deeply was a different beast altogether. I had to confront Emily. There was no other option. This is far from over, I whispered to myself, determination coursing through my veins. I reached for my phone and stared at the photo of Emily I had kept all these years, a relic of a friendship that had turned sour. My heart raced with a mix of rage and resolve. This was the beginning of something darker, a new chapter in my quest for retribution. The thrill of revenge that had once felt so empowering now morphed into something more complex. I would not just tear down Lisa's life. I would expose Emily for who she truly was. With each passing second, I felt the fire within me grow, igniting a fury that demanded to be unleashed. You thought you could hide, Emily, I muttered, but I'm coming for you.